To understand the legalities of this, I'm joined by Mr. Arshpreet Khadial, who's an advocate in the Supreme Court. Mr. Khadial, thank you for making time and speaking to Mirror now. Keeping the politics aside, for the benefit of our viewers, could you help us understand whether this move is legal in the absence of a trial? Can the property of an accused be demolished without a proper trial?
One, violence cannot be answered with violence no matter what. I think the BJP has clearly forgotten the principles of Mahatma Gandhi that, an eye for an eye will blind the whole world. Second of all, there's a process established by the law. We have courts, we have the judiciary to punish, but it's the job of the government to protect people. And if that very government is going to be, doing these kind of things, demolishing houses of the people that they think are wrong, it would set up a very wrong precedent. Imagine people following this precedent, becoming vigilantes like the government has become. Imagine the anarchy that it would spread. Imagine the lawlessness that it would spread. I think I'm wrong here. It's already been spread. Third of all, separation of powers is something that the government has disregarded. They've forgotten that legislature is not supposed to punish people, executive is not supposed to punish people. It's the judiciary's job. They have disregarded the law, they have disregarded the constitution, and they have forgotten that it is in the court that an FIR is registered against somebody, who's wrong, who's an accused, and then there is a challan, and then there are charges, there are witnesses, there are arguments, and then it is decided, who's wrong and who's not. And how can the government, encroach upon the of the judiciary? I don't understand that. And as far as demolishing goes, there had to be a notice. There had to be an order. There is no notice at all whatsoever. There is no order at all whatsoever. And nevertheless, they say that, we have demolished them because we thought they were illegal. One, out of the blue, when the incident happens, you figure out, oh, it was illegal. And without any order whatsoever, notice whatsoever, you go and demolish them straight up. Now, just because the BJP thinks they are wrong does not make them wrong, does not make them accused. And even if it were to make them accused, because police is with the government, then also they are not convicts. You can't punish them straight up. So the BJP government has violated the law. They have set up a very wrong precedent. And I think, anarchy has definitely taken upon the state, and God save us from it.
All right. Arshpreet, thank you for that explanation. I also wanted to understand, is there a pattern? Because what we have seen is from Uttar Pradesh to Haryana to Madhya Pradesh, and these are essentially all BJP governments. And as you said, that there has to be a distinction between the executive and the judiciary. The government cannot be the judge, jury, and executioner. While the government's defense is that this might act as a deterrence, because in the past also, if there are riots or if there are protests, if there's any kind of agitation, the public property is the first casualty of that. So in order to deter that, this kind of action will act as a deterrence. And in Madhya Pradesh's case, an act was also passed last year in 2021. Where do you draw a line between deterrence and creating a sense of fear or ruling with an iron wrist?
One, I think it's not for the government, to punish people. And if they are punishing people, that is not tough action. That is breaking the law, hands down, crystal clear breaking the law, because they do not have the power to do that. And, you said that vandalism happens of public property. What exactly has been done by the BJP, I think, is vandalizing property of people. Right. They had no right at all whatsoever. There is no article, there is no clause, no section whatsoever that says that the government can do this. Even if they were to deter people from doing that, there is judiciary for that matter. And as far as punishment goes, we have a law for murder, we have a law for dowry, we have all these laws. But there are incidents happening, right? So just if the BJP says, that we have taken a very tough action, a very strong action against all these perpetrators, it's against the law. You can't do that. You're not supposed to do that. And even if you have done it, the results of it aren't fruitful, because, other people would start doing the same thing. They would take the law into their hands and start punishing people according to their own whims and fancies, and as they would deem it fit. And imagine the amount of anarchy, not just anarchy, the amount of crime that would go up. So answering violence with violence is something that has to stop. And the government is supposed to, set up precedents which teaches people, which teaches the state that you're supposed to be peaceful, that you're supposed to be non-violent. And if tough action had to be taken, they could have expedited the matter. They could have made sure that the accused were prosecuted. Now imagine if all the states started doing that. A government thinks, let's say that because there is BJP government, there obviously are propagandas involved. There obviously are things involved, which are not always right. So imagine how many wrong things would happen, how many casualties there are going to be. And if every government of every state starts doing that, imagine what will happen to our country. For God's sake, the BJP should remember that we are the world's largest democracy. We have to preserve democracy, understand democracy. And the BJP has forgotten the word democracy, and has probably shifted to dictatorship. So I just hope that the Honorable Supreme Court, takes suo motu cognizance of it, and whatever the BJP government has done, they should be brought to justice for that.
Arshpreet, please wait, and thank you so much for those detailed insights. I'm also joined by Mr. Ashutoshsrivastava on the broadcast. Mr. Srivastava, thank you for making time and speaking to Mirror Now. I hope you've been listening to what Mr. Arshpreet has been saying. He is vocally opposing this idea of the rule of bulldozer, and he said that this is going to lead into anarchy and the government cannot act as judge, jury and executioner. What is your view on this? Is it legal to demolish someone's property without a proper trial, even if they are an accused?
See, first of all, the Constitution of India gives powers to the states to make their laws. And accordingly, the states have certain powers so far as the matters concerned with the state list are concerned for making laws. Now, so far as here MP is concerned, obviously there are laws. I know it is MP Municipal Act or MP Municipality Act 1961. There are laws already there. And as per the provisions of the Municipal Act or the Municipal Corporation Act, actions have been taken. In MP Municipal Corporation Act, there is a provision, section 322A, under which there has to be a report which has to be framed for illegal constructions, unauthorized constructions, for encroachment of land of the government or any other such authorities. And that report is to be submitted to the corporation. And after the corporation goes through such reports, then they can issue notice to the people who are illegally holding such land or the property of the government or likewise. And then if there is no any court action, or if the person who has been served notice doesn't go to the court and the court has not given any stay order on such notice, then in that case, the corporation has the power to demolish such kind of illegal and unauthorized constructions. And so far as these kind of matters are concerned, I do not agree with my learned friend who just said that the legislatures are doing it. It is not the legislature. It is the corporation. It is the authority. The authorities are functioning as per the established principles of law. I do understand that there are emotions attached to such kind of incidences, but directly linking these kind of incidences just to what had happened 2 days prior or 3 days prior, it doesn't serve the purpose. Now, he said there has to be a trial. See, the trial will not start suo motu. That for the trial, one has to go to the court and say that I have been served with this notice, but I am not happy with this notice for whatever reasons. This is illegal, unlawful, whatever. Then one has to go to the court and challenge that notice. And if the court is convinced with the arguments that this notice has been unlawfully issued, or there is some kind of substance in the case, or if the construction is legal and it is authorized, or there are whatever, even slightest kind of merit is there in the case, then the court can stay that notice, and then the proceedings will will continue. But the question arises whether this has happened in this case. No. See, the notice, if I have been served notice and I am not doing anything, I am not taking any legal recourse to it, obviously I have to face the consequences. So what my learned friend said, that the legislatures are taking laws into hands, I do not agree to that point, at least. But if he says, yes, if he says that the notice itself was not served, or the corporation has not followed the procedures of law, so that is a different issue. Then it is something which has to be proved in the court of law. Now, if they say that no notice was served, okay, so in that case, they can go and ask for heavy compensation and for the punishment of the authorities or the concerned people who were involved in doing so. But I do not think that this would have happened, because any corporation or authority will just not function like that. They have to follow the procedures of law, and the procedures of law must have been followed.
Okay.
This is what would be my,
Okay.
assumption as of now.
Point taken. So we spoke to a correspondent. He said that notices were issued on 7th of April and the demolition began on 11th of April. Mr. Arshpreet Khadial, do you have a counter to this, that there are laws that allow the authorities to demolish properties, and if notices are being sent in advance, then it's perfectly okay. But here we are not debating about this. What we are talking about is that without a proper trial, how can you demolish somebody's property? What if that person is innocent? You know, these people, anyone, they invest their life savings into building their shops, into building their homes. They depend on them. Their livelihood depends on it. But without a proper trial, are you not depriving them of a chance? Are you not depriving them of a decent and dignified living? Mr. Arshpreet Khadial.
Exactly. See, the right to life, the people whose houses have been demolished, and vandalized, their right to life has been violated under Article 21. The right to equality under Article 14 has been violated. And the BJP government is saying, that we saw them doing this. There was evidence. I say, even if there was 100% evidence, even if it happened right in front of their eyes, then also they could not have punished them. And the principle of natural justice says that one is to be presumed innocent until proven guilty. Now, the BJP government, how in God's name have they taken the law into their hands? I don't understand how. And the right to trial, even if they would have done it in front of 100,000 people, then also they had a right to trial. You can't just punish them out of the blue. And when they have demolished the houses of these people, let's understand, if I'm living in my house, I have my family also. If somebody comes and vandalizes my house because I have done something wrong, what about my family? What about my wife? What about my mother? What about my daughter? What about that? They have punished those people also for no rhyme or reason. And what about their justice? What about their rights? You are vandalizing somebody's house. Just like that, I think it's a very, very wrong precedent that the government is setting up. The least expected thing that the government should have done is this. And fourth, the government is supposed to make houses for people, not make people homeless. And they did not even give them the time to take out their belongings, their stuff, whatever stuff was inside the house. And now the gentleman, the other gentleman, the co-panelist said that, an notice was given. I beg your pardon. The notice had to be given beforehand. There had to be a certain period which had to lapse, and after that they had to vacate. There had to be an order from the court. They still, even if, let's say that a building is illegal, a structure is illegal, and somebody is undergoing a trial, after the conviction has happened or after the sentence has been passed, then will this happen? Then will the punishment be done and dusted with? How can you at the starting itself punish them?
Okay.
So one at the very outset, at the very outset, everybody can see that the BJP government has taken the law into their hands, and now they are saying that we would greet stone pelters with bulldozers. Now there's fear. There's fear among people. People are scared. People do not know where to go because other people are following the same precedent. Agar government kariye, to we would also do it.
Yes.
Because if the government does something, it's right. We would also do the same thing. And because of that, the entire state, has been put into a very problematic situation. And I hope it comes out of it soon.
All right. Thank you so much, Mr. Arshpreet and Mr. Ashutoshsrivastava, for weighing in on this very critical story and sharing your very precious insights on this. We hope that justice prevails, and we hope that innocent people are not suffering because of this bulldozer justice, and we have to wait and watch whether the law takes its own course, and we will continue to put the spotlight on this story. Thank you for speaking to Mirror Now.